the 23 countries that Britain never invaded, meaning that Britain invaded the whole world. Britain made provocations. Britain made wars everywhere. I feel the United States learned, sitting on Britain's knee, everything we know about empire we learned from Britain. And there was almost a handover of the baton from Britain to the United States, from Churchill, basically to Truman, I would say, at the end of World War II. And the megalomania took a big jump in the United States. Dean Acheson, one of our top diplomats, wrote his memoirs called Present at the Creation. Okay, well, it's a little bit of the mindset, the creation. This was, of course, what it meant was the beginning of the American-led world. Quantitatively, the U.S. absolutely is different and absolutely has a foreign policy that is different from all other countries. What other country has 750 overseas military bases?
Well, why did they put their countries next to the U.S. bases?
That's exactly right. You know, you look at that map of China surrounded by the U.S. military bases with that question coming out of the map. The military bases are everywhere. That's distinctive. The country number 2, by the way, of most military bases to this day, it's not China or Russia, these big populous countries. It's Britain because it's the legacy. Britain still still runs all these islands where they have naval bases and so forth, the listening systems and so forth around the world. Of course, it's not a great power anymore, but it still has more than 100 overseas military bases. How many overseas military bases does China have? It's debated. There's one for sure in Djibouti, kind of a naval repair base. It's argued that maybe there are 2 or 3 or 4, possibly. The U.S. 750. So this is quantitatively something different. Then the U.S. exercises its power in a unique way. Covert regime change. Covert regime change, basically CIA operations. The CIA was created in 1947. There's an excellent book by a scholar named Lindsay O'Rourke at Boston College, 2017. She's a student of our great political scientist John Mearsheimer, and she counts 64 covert regime change operations between 1947 and 1989. She stops at the end of the purported end of the Cold War. We now know it never ended, but she stops in 1989 because she says, I can get the documentary record till then. I happen to know firsthand many others, and we know of many others since then. What other country does that at this scale? It's unbelievable.
But can't two things be true at the same time? So we can say that the CIA helped overthrow the Shah, for example, in Iran, but that doesn't mean...
But by the way, one thing that's interesting, if I could just say about it, these are covert regime change operations. A little weird. Of course, the regime change is obvious. Of course, the moment it happens, everyone says the United States. So what's covert about it? What's covert about it is the United States said, no, we didn't do it.
Yeah, no responsibility.
We didn't do it. And then everyone looks around to, well, we're pretty sure you did it, but we can't say you did it. We can't prove you did it. Or even if you can prove you did it, we better not say you did it. So there's nothing really covert about it. Sometimes it's so absurd.